On May 2nd, 2008, Jason Witt called the police after his wife Andrea flew into a terrifying rage and took off with the kids.
I was scared because I had no idea what she was capable of. The cops picked her up a couple miles into the next county.
But Andrea told police she'd merely been taking the children to dinner.
She had kind of charmed herself out of any sort of consequences. I was beginning to learn at this point that she could lie. She could lie fairly easily, readily, and people were going to believe her. I began to question the reality of the stories that she told me early on in our marriage, and I'd begun to wonder whether or not she had really been raped.
And by December 2008, Jason was even more certain that his instinct was right.
We had an argument, and Andrea had gone home to her parents, and her mom called me. And so my question to her mom was,
Did she ever get any help after her rape?
Her mom's response was, huh? And I said, she was not raped, was she? And her mom's response was, you need to speak to Andrea.
When Andrea finally returned home later that night, Jason did just that.
We need to talk.
She said to me, I was married.
I don't want you to find out.
She told me that he did rape her, but she told me that he was the son of a prominent person in town. Her parents pressured her into marrying him anyway.
Jason didn't believe a word she said.
The dam broke because everything I believed about this woman was a lie.
But despite it all, Jason wanted to somehow save the marriage. He believed that counseling was the best next step.
I was shocked. I was very vocal with Jason in telling him that she was not going to change. But Jason was committed to the relationship.
Things were good for at least a couple weeks, and she got pregnant again. I was happy, but Andrea could never follow through with counseling. So that was when I realized that I don't have a partner in this. This isn't a marriage if there's only one person fighting for it.
With that, Jason felt there was only one thing to do.
Leaving a pregnant woman was not an easy decision for me at all.
On September 4th, 2009, after 3 years of marriage, Jason filed for divorce. He hoped the worst was behind him, but he was wrong.
The day I filed for divorce was the day I basically set off a nuclear bomb.
After giving birth to a second son, Andrea fought tooth and nail to keep their children from Jason. For over 2 years, a custody battle of epic proportions played out between the two of them.
Jason and Andrea were basically sharing custody. She initiated 6 false allegations of child abuse against him, with Child Protective Services alleging all manner of child abuse. She initiated 2 or 3 police investigations against him as well.
Every month I was dealing with a new accusation. I was dealing with accusations just left and right. This was just a harrowing experience, because when you're dealing with children, all she had to do was cry wolf, and the courts were going to believe her.
But when all allegations against Jason were proven false, a judge finally held Andrea in contempt and ordered her to allow visitation immediately.
I knew that Andrea was backed into a corner. For the first time, someone of authority had let her know that there were truly consequences to all this stuff that she was doing.
In the early morning hours of February 6th, 2012, Jason Witt found himself under attack.
I knew whoever it was had a gun, so I flipped the light on.
Andrea!
And Andrea is standing there, staring me down. My head was racing. I'm just wired at this point, adrenaline just running like crazy.
Turn over.
Andrea grabbed my hands and started to tie them up with plexi ties, and then began to pull the bed sheets off the bed and wrap them around me.
Andrea! No! You're gonna kill me!
I'm not gonna kill you, Jason. I love you. Stop struggling.
I couldn't breathe, and I could feel the plexicuffs just loosening just that little bit. Eventually, I just pulled my arms out of the plexicuffs, put a hole through the saran wrap. I started going after her, and the gun goes off. She was trying to shove her way into the room, so I started hitting her over the head with the gun. I shut the door and I locked it and called 911. I told them my ex-wife broke in. She tried to kill me. I need help. I don't know if she's still in the house. I don't know what's going on, but I need help. I need an ambulance and I need police here quick.
As police arrived, Andrea was nowhere to be found, and Jason was rushed to the emergency room. He had no clue until he arrived at the hospital that he'd been shot point blank in the face.
The bullet went through my cheek, under my ear, and out my neck, and didn't hit anything major. It's an absolute miracle.
Meanwhile, police located Andrea at a different hospital almost 4 hours away.
She told sheriff's deputies that she had been a victim of domestic violence, that her husband had beaten her with a gun.
She made claims that it was not her fault and that she was defending herself. Even after committing this horrible attack and then getting arrested at the hospital, Andrea was still lying.
It was shocking to me that she thought anyone would believe it.
Fortunately, all of Andrea's previous actions against Jason spoke volumes.
She was placed under arrest for aggravated assault for causing serious bodily injury with a deadly weapon.
Only a sick person can do this kind of thing. To walk in and torture him. God knows what her plan was. I mean, it's got to be the utmost evil.
On May 14, 2013, Andrea went to trial, claiming she was a victim of domestic violence. But prosecutors were confident with the trail Andrea herself had left behind.
One of Andrea's boyfriends testified about the things that she had done with him that were very, very similar to what Jason had gone through. There was also evidence from a psychiatrist that she was a habitual liar. There was clear proof that Andrea had a disturbing pattern of terrorizing the men in her life.
I think Andrea is a very miserable, sad, sick individual. And it's just sad that her demons really ran so deep, she couldn't overcome them.
After 2 days of testimony, Andrea Stanley was convicted on all counts and was sentenced to 50 years in prison.
There was just a huge sense of relief. It just felt like 8 years of absolute hell was finally over.
In the summer of 2004, Joy Soa was happy to help her new husband, Bryant Parker, start his own real estate company after he was fired from his job.
I paid the rent. I bought him the computer. I spent $25,000 setting up the office.
But despite her help, it seemed as if a switch had flipped in Bryant's personality, starting with his work ethic.
He never sold one house, never sold a piece of property. He wasn't making any money. We started arguing.
They keep mounting up.
Because, well, I was paying for everything. I wasn't making enough money to keep up with bills. I was horrified. I thought, now what are we gonna do?
Joyce was starting to seriously worry about her husband, especially after 2 years, when Bryant's real estate business flopped entirely.
Bryant was really drinking a lot. He got depressed. His self-worth had gone down. I could tell that he wasn't happy.
Joy struggled to support Bryant over the next few years as he bounced from one job to the next. But his excessive drinking was beginning to take its toll.
He was verbally abusive with me. He would call me names.
You're such a cow.
You're so stupid.
He would yell at me and scream, and, he apologized, but then the drinking continued.
Desperate to set her husband straight, on December 1st, 2009, Joyce told Bryant that she wanted a separation.
I said,
I'm giving you a year.
clean up your act, quit drinking, find a good job. I said, you gotta just take care of yourself and do what you need to do.
Fine, Joyce.
Bryant moved out of the house and in with family members.
I was happy that she had kicked him out, but she looked frail, lost a lot of weight. I was very concerned.
But by the following year, it was clear their separation was not having the effect on Bryant that Joyce had hoped.
He was drinking even more. He had no money.
That September, Bryant admitted himself to a local psychiatric ward in Virginia. Though she was proud of Bryant's decision to enter rehabilitation, Joyce wasn't sure their marriage could be saved.
I always believed that you stay in your marriage. But I had gone through all the abuse, all the drinking. He just had changed so much. I decided I was going ahead with divorce.
In November 2011, after he was discharged from the psychiatric ward, Joyce finally felt Bryant was strong enough to move forward with divorce proceedings.
He called me up and he started screaming at me.
What is this, Joyce? What is this you just sent me?
And then he said, I don't want a divorce. I could tell he was drunk. And he just started screaming at me again.
You can kiss my goodbye. You are a piece of
Either he was crying uncontrollably and saying how he missed her so much, or you can go to hell, I don't need you.
I'll find somebody else.
It was phenomenal, the number of calls.
So finally, one day I picked up the phone. He said he wanted to come see me about the divorce.
At the very least, Bryant told Joyce he could help her prepare the house for the winter by chopping wood and turning off the pipes.
I didn't know how to do that stuff, and I said, yeah, come on up, let's work around the house.
After 8 years of marriage, Joyce agreed to one last meeting on December 1st, 2011, just 1 month before their divorce would be final.
He told me he had cleaned up his act.
I'm off the booze.
He said, I have nothing.
I'm nothing without you.
I said, I just can't do it anymore.
You know, Brian, I really hope we can be friends.
But our marriage is over.
I understand.
It was getting dark. And so he didn't turn off the faucets, he didn't help me cut wood, and he said, well, the next day he would help me.
Oh, I'll stay in the elevator.
Joyce went to sleep feeling as though she may have made some headway with Bryant.
I opened up my eyes, and he was standing over me with a knife.
What are you doing?
He was silent, and the look on his face was horrid.
What are you doing?
It felt like a brick had just slammed into me. I couldn't breathe. I reached over and grabbed the phone. I dialed 911.
Someone's killing me.
And when I said that, he stabbed me in the back. I mean, he was out to kill me. I don't know how, but I got the knife away from him, and then I knew I had to get away.
Hello? Hello, this is 911.
I killed my wife.
Okay, sir, stay on the phone with me.
Strangely, Bryant did as the 911 operator instructed, holding a cloth on Joyce's chest wound to stop the bleeding.
He could have run away, but he knew that she had implicated him.
Police, let me see your hands! Let me see your hands!
Police immediately arrested Bryant, charging him with attempted first-degree murder as EMTs worked to frantically save Joyce's life.
I need a helicopter right away!
They flew her to a trauma center, and they were able to save her life.
When Joyce finally awoke after major surgery, she was told the knife had missed her heart by inches.
It collapsed my lungs. I was not only bleeding to death, but I couldn't breathe. I'm really lucky to be alive.
I was in total shock. I didn't know that he was violent, that he was capable of something like that.
As Joyce's body healed, she struggled to make sense of Bryant's actions, despite glimpses of his anger over the years with her and his ex-wife.
He was just verbally abusive. I never, ever would have dreamed that he would have tried something like this, ever.
On September 4th, 2013, after 3 failed attempts to be found mentally unfit for trial, Bryant Parker accepted a plea deal and pled guilty to 1 count of malicious wounding.
I didn't think he was mentally ill. I think, honestly, it was to get whatever he thought it was still in his name. Because he was broke, he had no money, and the divorce was going to be final in January.
She was his meal ticket. He didn't have to work. He had this beautiful house. And then when he realized it was going to be all over, he was desperate.
I think he thought, kill her, I'll get off, mental illness. I think he knew what he was doing.
On October 1st, 2013, Bryant Parker was sentenced to 20 years in prison, with 4 years suspended.
That 4 years suspended was because he put the cloth on her to stop the bleeding, which might have contributed to saving her life.
Whatever made Bryant snap, Joyce knew for sure she'd witness the slow descent of a madman.
I was very angry. I had put up with Bryant losing every job, not contributing any income, drinking. He was a bum, and he had bled me dry.
In January 2013, Nathan Richardson was still adjusting to learning his wife Shannon had brain cancer when he received more unsettling news.
Shannon sent me a picture of a pregnancy test. I was kind of shocked because she was supposed to be on birth control, and there was a possibility she wouldn't live long enough to have a child. And our relationship was up and down, and sometimes we were good, sometimes we weren't. So I definitely didn't want to have a child under those circumstances.
When Nathan spoke with Shannon later that day, she assured him that everything was under control.
There's a specialist in Georgia that I was gonna go see for a couple of days.
Well, I'll go with you. We'll go.
Oh, no. It's okay.
But I was never allowed to go.
For some reason, she wanted to keep it a secret, so we were concerned about that.
That spring, while Shannon's health seemed stable for the moment, Nathan's life took yet another dramatic turn when he received a phone call from a credit card company.
They said that a credit card had been opened in February. They were saying it was already maxed out, like $6,000 worth of credit card charges already. I said, this is impossible. I'd asked what some of the charges were. It was places that Shannon liked to go shopping. I did a credit report to see what was going on. Ended up finding 6 other credit cards. They're all maxed out. I was pretty upset.
Nathan knew his wife was the only one who had access to his information.
Did you do this?
Maybe it was my ex-husband.
It didn't make any sense at all.
You think I did?
I was wasting away.
I can't believe this.
Emotionally, I was dying. And depression. It was just too much to deal with anymore.
Nathan felt he had no choice but to visit his lawyer. So it was an especially crushing blow when he revealed a little-known Texas law.
Texas law doesn't allow you to complete a divorce when party is pregnant. You have to wait until after the child is born before you can complete the divorce.
For the next few months, Nathan felt trapped.
I was just trying to coexist with Shannon until I could figure something out, until she had the baby.
Nathan had no idea his life was about to go from bad to worse.
I was with a buddy at work. We were just having a good old time.
Excuse me. Are you Nathan Richardson? Yeah.
He didn't shake my hand.
Can I talk to you for a minute? What's this all about?
And I thought, oh, what in the world's going on? And he just put handcuffs on me.
What are you doing? What's this all about?
Hey, Nathan, what's going on, man?
Man, I don't know.
And it was just completely shocking. They put me in the back of the car, and I stayed in the car 2 hours. No one would tell me what was going on. I kept asking over and over again. Finally, the FBI showed up and asked if they could search my vehicle. I said, sure. But I was like, what is going on here?
Confused and clueless, Nathan was finally led to the security office on base, where FBI agents entered the room announcing this was a matter of national security. Nathan's mouth hung wide open as agents revealed their reason for targeting him. Letters laced with the deadly poison ricin had been sent to several high-ranking officials.
The letters were sent to President Obama, Mayor Michael Bloomberg of New York City, and Mark Glaze, who is an anti-gun activist.
And the FBI had serious reason to believe Nathan was behind the terroristic threats.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I thought it was a really bad joke. It's like your head and your heart, like all of a sudden just have like an attack at the same time.
I didn't do anything.
FBI and Secret Service agents continued to drill Nathan before he was finally released around midnight. For the next 3 weeks, Nathan stayed at his parents' while his house was under quarantine, with no word from Shannon.
We had 2 FBI agents stay outside the house. It was hard to sleep, it was hard to eat.
Luckily, through news reports, Nathan was beginning to piece together what had happened. And with every report, he sank further into shock. It turned out it was Shannon who'd gone to the FBI.
Shannon left one morning after he had gone to work. Kids were at school, and she drives to an FBI office in Shreveport. She said, I think my husband sent these letters, and they had her sequestered away.
Shannon was trying to frame me as some kind of backwater, gun-toting, crazy person. She was pretty evil.
But a few weeks later, Nathan received a shred of promising news.
The FBI had 3 theories. He did it, she did it, or they did it together. And very early on, unbeknownst to Shannon, the FBI followed her, and at some point she made a statement to someone that she was going to run, and they went and arrested her. That's when she confessed to certain parts of what happened, but still claimed that Nathan was involved.
Shannon admitted that she had ordered the castor beans online, which she used to make the ricin. She claimed that on the morning of May 20th, 2013, she'd sent all 3 poisoned letters because Nathan had forced her.
You don't understand what he put me through. He made me do it.
But investigators weren't buying it.
There are date and time stamps on computers when you do things. And Nathan had alibis most of the time that anything was happening. And I think that clarified to them who was really involved.
On June 7, 2013, Shannon was charged in federal court with possessing and producing a biological toxin. While Nathan finally knew who had framed him, he struggled with why.
I think it was just her way of getting the attention that she's always craved.
But it wasn't until Nathan spoke with Shannon's previous husband that he learned the extent of her award-winning acting abilities.
She said she got divorced in 2004, which was a lie. She'd been divorced maybe 18 days before she married me.
And I'm really glad that
And her ex-husband was nothing like what she described. He was non-violent, real nice guy.
Nathan's mind raced back to Shannon's brain aneurysm and cancer diagnosis.
There was all kinds of deceit and lies, and the FBI told me she didn't have cancer. I think she was just starving herself. She was pretty good at doing makeup, so I wasn't surprised at all. It was just one more angle of control.
Nathan now viewed his reaction to Shannon's credit card fraud as the catalyst for her actions.
We think she was trying to go back to Georgia before the baby was born with the hope that he would be in jail and she would be able to get his house. I think she thought she had come up with the perfect way to get rid of a husband and get some notoriety.
In December 2013, Shannon Richardson pled guilty to all charges. 7 months later, she was sentenced to 18 years in prison, all the while soaking up her 15 minutes of fame.
She lives in her own world, and I think this is one of those cases where crazy applies.
18 years, that's a long time for a pretty lady who's not gonna look so pretty by the time she gets out.
Her love was based off of what you did for me. And it really wasn't love, it was some kind of disease.